All right, everybody. Welcome on this Saturday night, late night edition. Boy, has it been a day between the Bombers, between the Jets, uh, whatever else has happened. Sorry about Morgan
You're
being
good.
tormented by the guy they probably at least want to be tormented by in Mr. Marchand, but all things can't go swimmingly in a day, it seems.
Yeah, it's okay. It'll be good on Monday. We'll be good.
Who'll be dead? Well, maybe. All of a sudden, the Jets have an 8-game winning streak. Who saw that coming? Um, just beyond ridiculous. Anyway, I'm Michael Dell, joined by Morgan Hobbs. Today, we're going to have a rewatch of our game from against Burnaby at the Canadian Ball Hockey Association Nationals, which happened this past summer in Edmonton. So, we're going to start the video. There is no audio to the video. I'm going to cut in on the audio occasionally, but it's basically going to be the game on the screen, and then Morgan and I are going to be in the background talking about some stuff. People have already joined us. That's good to see. If you want to leave a comment, you can do so right on the video player, and we will get to your comment as the game goes on. I'm not used to doing games on here, just shows. But as the team goes on, we'll slide in your questions. We have some pre-submitted questions, which Morgan will get to at some point from various people. And then we will take this right through to the end of the first game, and then we'll try to kind of run through every game every now and then as a lead up to next year, and then talk about how the team's doing this year. Fall season starts tomorrow, Morgan.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow
Okay,
afternoon, 12:30.
We will get into that as well. But let's start the video here first, and then we'll get that video rolling first. Okay, it is rolling, and you'll see it in about a second there. There it is.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
That's pretty sick, actually.
So, yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some alterations quickly here now that I have this on the screen. Morgan, can you maybe reflect on the Nationals tournament 2 years ago? Because I think it would be appropriate to start this conversation without going all the way back, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah. It was definitely eye-opening. I can say that. I definitely think as a core group of players, we were probably a lot more underprepared than we would have liked to have been. We bit off more than we could chew. We thought because we were a good team here that we were going to be a good team there, and it didn't really pan out that way. So it was definitely eye-opening, that's for sure.
So fast forward to this year as the game, I think, is just undergoing warm-up. If I can see that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see me somewhere there. I'm doing my old pregame routine somewhere in there. Oh, I'm right there, I think.
Yep. You're in there somewhere.
In there somewhere. That's the bottom.
You're in there somewhere.
So I think I walked by you during warm-up at some point and do our little customary handshake or whatever.
Yep.
And you're talking to one of the Burnaby guys right there.
Yeah, like I'm talking to their captain. I met him at the team representative meeting the night before, and we kind of just, it was their first time at a tournament like this, so I was kind of just letting them know that we were gonna play the way that we play. We're not gonna play dirty. Like, we're not a dirty team. We're just gonna go out and do our thing. And he said kind of the same thing. They're not a dirty team. They just want to play. So overall, I thought this game was the cleanest game that we played. I think, like, regarding corner and stuff,
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it was the cleanest game for sure.
Do you remember your emotions before this game?
I was a lot calmer for this game than I was for the first game. of the tournament in Toronto. The tournament in Toronto, a lot of us, especially me, were like nervous. First time that we had been there, nervous, didn't want to make a mistake. But this one, I just remember being ready to go, ready for the ball to drop. And if I'm being 100% honest and like trying to be as humble as I can, like watching these guys in warm up, I had a strong feeling the way this game was going to go.
Yeah, I didn't. See, I was the exact opposite. I was nervous until about midway through the first period. And listen, that's just my nature, unfortunately. And I had 2023 in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And how that started. By the way, I just want to make mention as well, since we can't see the video, I actually pulled up my coaching board from this game. It's right here. Whoops. I have all of them. I knew I kept them for a good reason. So the lines, for those that are not familiar, this game was on July 16th. We had, this is the way we started, not the way we finished, keep in mind. We had Wayne centering Antonio and Jordy, Liam centering Graham and Jaden, Joff centering Corey and Tim, Cody centering Morgan and Trevor, with Stetsky being the extra.
Yep.
On D, we had Garnet and Marvin, Dean and Andrew, Cohen and Chris, and Tyler was unavailable. And we started Scott Cameron in this game, backed up by Devin.
Yeah.
So that's the context for which we started with in this sort of game. What would you say, like, I don't know if you were at the practice the night before. Just for context, I got in the morning of that day, and this is an evening game here that we're playing. I just remember it being the great, amazing race to get there. Woke up out of my bed at 3:45 in the morning, and I'm joining Stetsky and Devin for breakfast at like 9 o'clock Edmonton time. So it was really like a full day there for me by this point.
I didn't make the practice just because I was at the team representative meeting while they were doing the practice, because I wasn't getting fined again. We got fined the first year when we were in Toronto because nobody went to that meeting, so I wasn't getting fined again.
Yeah, no, it wasn't going to happen again.
No.
Probably won't happen again, to be fair.
I mean, realistically, I didn't realize how important that meeting was, but there was actually some like good stuff that was talked about and made a lot of things like a lot more clear, so that helped.
Yeah, and one thing I can stress, and you'll probably hear me say this multiple times, both tournaments were extremely well run.
100% they were. I don't have any complaints about it.
Yeah, so like just for context, so for me, like my role was kind of to, in addition to coaching the team, obviously, was to lock in the game day lineup with the game sheet, etc., talk to the officials and that kind of thing. And then, I don't know, you may find this surprising about me, but I wasn't a big let's talk to the guys before the game kind of thing. I mean, I kind of left that to you, Morgan. We'll get into the reasons in another episode, because there was a turning point in my mind that happened. It wasn't in this game; it was coming up. But yeah, I just sort of let the guys be the guys. Here's the lineup, away you go, and was on the bench with Phil, who was, I can't even tell you how big of a help. You know what? When you're doing everything else yourself, it's great to have a guy like Phil on the bench, and I know for me, he brought an awful lot, and that's sort of very good.
Yeah, Phil was great. Phil was a big reason that guys were able to stay composed and stuff, because he kind of kept everybody in check, didn't let anybody get down on each other. It was kind of just shut up and play kind of mentality. So I think the big thing for us, I think in this game we started down 1-0 pretty early too.
Right? Yeah, we'll find out in a minute. I thought for sure they'd warm up out of these videos, but I guess not. Sorry about that, guys.
They don't cut anything out of these videos.
Oh yeah, okay, there's me. No,
Yeah.
you're talking to Phil.
I don't know who that. I think that was the timekeeper. I think we were
Oh, it
making
is
sure
the timekeeper, yeah.
we were making sure Garnett was on the roster, and then we were telling her that Tyler was suspended for this game.
Right. That's why.
Yeah.
And for the record, I'm always a coach that'll go, even though the game sheet is locked in on the online system, I don't take it at its word.
No.
I just go physically ask the timekeeper if there's any questions.
Yeah, because I found out after this game that Garnett wasn't on our roster, and I was like, but I submitted his name myself. Like, I did it myself. It said that Garnett was there, so.
Yeah, well, now we know, right?
Yeah.
The warm-up's coming to an end. Morgan, what did you tell people about the atmosphere, the mood around the team before this game? Because you have to remember, we were sitting around all day. Like, we went to go watch one of the early games, might have even been Victoria, ironically enough. But like, to me, the group just seemed really, really loose.
Yeah, I mean the vibe in the room was just, we had the speaker going with the music bumping, everybody was in the good vibes, like we were all laughing and joking around, and like we were just trying to get loose before the game. I think it helped that a lot of us went earlier in the day and we watched the other Winnipeg team play, so we were there for that, and a couple of the other teams in our division were also playing, and we were able to kind of peek in that and see what we were up against. So that helped a lot of guys. That helped a lot of us kind of realize that, okay, like we can hang with these teams. Like, it's not going to be like Toronto again. It's like, my honest opinion, watching the D division games before we played, I looked at it and I was like, this is way slower than Toronto. Like, way slower. It's not going to be nearly as fast.
Well, I think in fairness, Quebec wasn't there, and I don't think Ontario sent their best.
No.
Like, I mean, we had one game. We had one game against Ontario later on, which, you know, I'll one day write about in my book, I'm pretty sure. Just the emotional roller coaster. You and I still talk about that game.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was certainly in our favor. I'll say that.
It definitely was 100%.
But you don't know, right? Because you can't see a lot of these teams in advance. The video was very scarce. The in-game adjustments are the in-game adjustments. And quite honestly, for this tournament relative to the last one, I felt like I had a feel for a lot of these games.
Yeah.
Whereas in Ontario, I didn't feel like I had a lot of feel for the games and what was going to happen.
Yeah, it was a lot easier to kind of, you could see stuff develop a lot more in these ones than you could in the Ontario ones. Like, it was a lot easier to kind of predict what was going to happen.
Yeah, and then we'll get into the whole goalie scenario for us, because I think we were also at an advantage, because I think we were one of the few teams that actually rostered 2 goaltenders, and it benefited. For context, it was super warm in this building.
I was just going to say, watching this video sitting at home, you do not understand how hot that building was. That was ridiculously hot. It was insane.
I'm just going to see if I can move it up ahead a little bit.
Yeah. Like, I think I sweat out 20 pounds.
Oh, there it is.
Like, in this tournament. I must have sweat out like 20 pounds. Like it was ridiculously hot, middle of a heat wave, like no air conditioning. It was brutal.
Brutal. And then, you know what, you learn as you adapt, right? It's like making sure you have full water bottles. Have somebody fill those water bottles mid-game. Like,
Yeah.
it all counts at the end of the day, and those are in-tournament adjustments that we had to make.
Yeah. I mean, the water bottles that we had, we'd fill them before warm-up started, and they'd be completely warm by the time warm-up was over. Like, it was just disgusting.
Yeah, I had somebody tell me it was close to 40 degrees in there, and I'm not even sure that's accurate.
No, it was definitely more than that. Like, it was way hotter than that.
And, like, I am sweating buckets after warm-up for context.
Yeah. Like, some of the other teams are, like, doing, like, their full warm-up drills and stuff and, like, going through, like, the horseshoe shooting drill and, like, they're doing, like, their pro-style warm-ups, and I just told our guys, it's like, we're not doing any of that. Like, you're gonna burn yourself out trying to do that. Just shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. That's it.
Just a quick update, not related to this stream. Shohei Ohtani has left the World Series with an arm injury.
Oh boy, Tommy John again. Here we go.
Hey. Dodgers winning 4-1, by the way. Yeah, so tell me about the first few minutes, Morgan.
The first few minutes was a lot of just feeling them out, feeling how they play, like feeling if they wanted to chase us into the corner, if they didn't want to chase us into the corner. We were trying to kind of gauge how physical we could be and get away with it. I'm pretty sure this is the game where we realized really quick that they didn't want to play the body in the corner, and we kind of used that to our advantage. Like they didn't want to push and shove and kind of work for the ball. They were a lot of like north, south, east, west. Like they would take the ball in, get the zone, and then run back out to try to set everything up. And we were going to grind them out. Like we were going to take it into the corner and like just try to outwork guys.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, right? Because I think we played Burnaby at the exact perfect time.
Yeah.
Because they started to become a problem after this game.
They did. I'm glad we got them out of the way early. If we had to play them later in the tournament, I don't think it would have been the same result.
No, because we were battling with them, or we needed their help, actually, to get into the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Them and somebody else.
It was them and Grand Prairie. If we still would have got in, because Grand Prairie needed to beat them by 5 goals.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So us and Burnaby actually ended up getting in. But the things you don't know about at that point in the tournament, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of learn all that stuff after. Like, you don't really know anything until after your last game is over. Like, we found out, our last game was
even
done.
then, we were waiting around for 2 hours.
Yeah, I had to go find out right away to try to figure stuff out. And even then, like, with our playoff opponent was updated on the website, but then it changed based on goal differential from one of the other games that happened earlier.
Yeah. So we're actually, I think, supposed to play Victoria, what they originally said.
We were supposed to play Victoria, and then it got switched because we ended up finishing higher than we were originally supposed to. So,
in fairness, it all worked out.
It worked out. I mean, it definitely worked out.
And again, we'll get into it because we wound up seeing somebody twice, which I think benefited us. It was not 2 teams twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that's Burnaby's first goal right there.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, we started down like 3 minutes into the game. And like the mood on the bench from guys that were there in Toronto was like, oh no, not this again. And I just walked up and down the bench and told them it was still early to just go out and play. Like, don't let it get to us. We were a lot more experienced group this time around, I think, too. Like, we added a lot of guys that had been at a tournament like this before.
There's a couple guys we'll talk about, I'm sure. Like, Liam was workhorse like I'd never seen.
Yeah.
Tyler was good. I did go up and down the lineup,
Yeah.
not to single anybody out, but everybody pulled their strings and did what they could, and that's how we got to what we got.
Yeah.
So why don't we? I understand you have some questions, but we're pre-submitted. Why don't we start going through them here? Because I think it's a while until any action happens.
Yeah. So the biggest one I got was why ball hockey and what is special about it. Okay. So for me, I was born with a club foot. So like I have issues with my ankle. Like I can't really skate. I don't have the ankle support. So for me, this was the closest that I could get. And it was something that I enjoyed doing. I'm good. I like to think I'm good at it. Not really, but something that I'm good at. I enjoy doing it. And what's special about it is it's a lot more affordable than ice hockey, which a lot of people don't understand. They cost approximately $180 to play in the winter, $180 to play in the summer, and all you really need is shoes, shin pads, gloves, and a helmet and a stick. You don't need any of the other stuff. You don't have to pay for ice time or anything like that. Like you can just kind of something that anybody can do. And it takes a lot more skill. Well, not really a lot more skill, but it's a lot harder to play than ice hockey because you can't glide. If you stop moving your feet, you stop moving.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because I know a couple of the players that were on the women's provincial team who happened to play in the MWJHL, where I'm a lead broadcaster for.
Yeah.
With the exception of tonight, as I took tonight off. As everybody's allowed to occasional time off.
Yeah.
By the way, Northern Stars winning in a shootout tonight, 2-1. There is a game ongoing right now in Stonewall as well. But it's interesting for me. By the way, were you done with that, or did I touch you off?
Nope, that's good. Yeah, I was done with it.
Okay, yeah. No, sorry. The signal might be a little bit spotty here because I'm running the game and I'm talking and I'm running the stream at once. So
yeah,
my signal might be spotty as the night goes on. But no, for me, I mean, we should really bat that more than like to where you and I met, because I think without that encounter, which wasn't an accident, none of this happens. But I'll preface it by saying this. I have a hearing impairment and I have cerebral palsy. So for obvious reasons, cannot skate, cannot be involved in hockey from a standpoint of running practices. So ball hockey for me was kind of the only way for me to be involved in practices because it's on the floor. There's still some safety concerns with me watching and running and all that, but not nearly what it would be with ice hockey. So, and I've also just fallen in love with the sport. And I still love ice hockey, but that's my day job. But it forces me to think a little bit differently now. Being an ice hockey broadcaster allows me to see things sort of from a retrospective way. Because I think, to be honest, a lot of the strategy is the same. It's just a ball on the floor here instead of a puck on the ice. But a lot of the tactics I take from our coaches that I know personally in my leagues that I work in, and for the most part, people have been very receptive to that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a long ride, that's for sure. Like that was a long time ago. That's youth for Christ days right there.
Yeah. No, that's when I met you, and we had water. There's our first.
There you go, right there, Graham and Liam set it up. Liam's a workhorse. I love Liam. Liam's coming back with us to Toronto. I already talked to him about it. He told me he would, so we're getting Liam back because 10 goals in 7 games is disgusting.
That's breaking news on this stream.
Yeah. I asked Liam a while ago to come back, and he said to just let him know. So that was a big goal. Graham, Way to move your feet. I didn't know you had it in you.
We can get into this later on. I certainly think, and not to take anything away from this game, we got more than 100% from a lot of guys to get us to where we got to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I mean, it was a lot of too, like, guys understood, right? Like, I feel like we had a lot more guys this year that understood, like, when it was time to shorten the bench, they were fine with shortening the bench. Like, there was 3, 4, 5 guys that were willing to sit and stand on the bench and support the team than trying to fight everybody to get on the floor. And I think that's what set us up for success a lot more.
Right. And even like I'm watching this, a lot of this, I think me and Morgan are also watching this bat for the first time. I know for me, I'm watching this bat for the first time. Defensive structure, like defensive organization, really jumps out at me. You know, when I'm watching this bat.
Yeah, it's a lot less bunching up. I know in Toronto, a lot of guys got lost and weren't sure where they were supposed to be because they were nervous in the heat of the moment. This was a lot more structured. Like, a lot of guys knew where they were supposed to go. The breakouts were a lot cleaner.
Yeah, and also, the breakouts were a lot easier.
Yeah. I think this is the game where I got hit right at the bench and I had to leave because he took the wind out of me. I'm almost positive this is the game.
There was a couple of plays. Later on in the tournament, I smacked my rib on the gate door.
Yeah.
Which coincides with our overtime winner in a later game. And I'm running around with like no oxygen in my lungs.
I'm almost positive this is the game where I got hit into the boards and got the wind knocked out of me. I got a stick in the face under the visor. I'm pretty sure this is the one.
How can I be just learning about this?
That stick in the face hurt. The hit the hit was a secondary hit. He hit me the first time and I braced for it. I wasn't ready for the second time when he came back.
Oh yeah, now I remember. It was kind of right in front of the bench, wasn't it?
Yeah. I wasn't ready for the second time when he came back. It was like with 6 minutes left in this game, and I was like, Stets, you could go. I can't go. You got to go, Stets.
Oh, so Morgan did be reliving probably some of his worst pain shortly.
Yeah, that definitely didn't feel great.
But on a more serious note, I think it was very important we got that tying goal as quick as we did.
Yeah, I think this might be one here too. I think Wayne might score coming up here.
Then we'll pick up the YFC story.
Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know. Chris Tobin was another guy that was huge for us.
Yep. Yeah, he had massive. I want to get him on one of these shows.
I love that guy.
I don't know which game it was. One of the nights I had dinner with the guy, okay? I have never seen a guy more grateful to be on a team
than Chris. Yeah, he told me every day. He still tells me all the time when I text him.
Really?
Yeah. He's coming back in the summer too. We got him back in the summer too.
More breaking news for this show. Jeez, Mo, let out more secrets than you have. We still got a bunch of these to go.
Yeah. You gotta get him out. He's good too because he can play forward or defense, and that's what I like. Is we need somebody like that can bounce back and forth.
Yeah, in this game he started because we were short on defense, but later on in the tournament he played forward.
Yeah.
I think he was the one too that also took the spill in the bronze medal game, which set the game up for us.
Yeah, he did. He got hit from behind like 3 times in that game. Poor guy. And then he got hit from behind playing Masters Nationals like 2 weeks later in Winnipeg, and he ended up having to have like stomach surgery from it.
Yeah, we'll let him dive into that when we
Yeah.
get him on.
That was brutal.
Cause all of the stuff, some of the stuff I heard was like, ugh, it's cringeworthy.
Yeah, he's a good guy to have in the locker room too. That guy's funny.
He is. It's like, and yeah, I mean, everybody brought something unique to this team.
Oh, power play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
our power
Liam,
play. That the special teams is what got us through a lot of the games.
Yes. Okay. I did the math after the tournament was over. Our power play ran 60% the whole tournament.
Sorry, say that again.
We were 60% on the power play the whole tournament. Like
That's 6 out of 10 or something like that.
no, it was more than that. We had a lot more power plays than that.
But
It was
an example as the number.
Yeah. Like our power play was disgustingly good. We had the best power play across all the divisions.
And I think our penalty kill was pretty good too, because I didn't only recall I've had maybe 3 goals, but were a lot on the penalty kill.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. We scored shorthanded goals too, which was wild.
Which, yeah. And, you know, there was nothing we could have done on those power play goals, so they were broken plays, as I recall.
Yeah, I think this is the power play where Garnett scores.
Not the Marv bomb. Now I had everybody saying, what's the state of the show for the Marv bomb?
Hopefully it's going to be Marv himself.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we're on the power play here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the one that Garnett scores on.
To have those Garnett and Marv have those cannons on the back, that certainly helped.
Yeah. Those are 2 guys that can also play forward too, so that's good. Like they can kind of jump back and forth.
Yeah, and Garnett, the way he coaching up in the bronze medal game was something else.
Yeah. He stepped up big time and helped behind the bench too. He was great. He's one of my favorite people to play with just because of the way that he is on the bench and in the room and on the floor and stuff. Like he's not like he'll yell at you, but he doesn't yell at you mean. Like I don't know how to word it without making it sound bad, but like he's one of my favorite people to play with. I've learned a lot from playing with him the last couple of years. Like he kind of tells you all this stuff because he wants you to be better. Like he doesn't want, like he's not doing it to be mean. He's doing it to help you and coach you to get better. And some people need like a little tough love like that.
That's exactly what it is. It's a guy that tells it to you straight.
Yeah.
And it comes from a very good place.
Yeah. And like, I mean, if you go and you talk to him about it after the game, he'll like sit and have a conversation with you about it and walk you back through what he means and stuff. So like it works.
Yeah, and it's like I've never felt like Garnett was trying to like overrule or anything.
No.
It came from a place of wanting to get the team.
Yeah.
Best for the team, right? And that's the one thing among many that I appreciate about Garnett.
Ew, that was gross. Liam, disgusting. That's nasty. That was so gross. I don't know how you defend that, honestly. Half the stuff he was doing in the tournament, I don't know how he I can't stress this enough. Liam is like 45. Like he's not a young guy. Like he's not old, but he's not he's like 25, 30. Like
but he plays like he is. That's the problem. Not the problem, but he plays like he is.
Yeah. He's a great guy to have on the team. He's so good. Like he played Team Manitoba Legends too when that tournament was here. Man, Colin, you gotta have that pass, buddy. I give you a clean pass and it's offside. Like, come on. Just kidding. I love Colin.
How are you feeling at this point up 2-1?
I was like, wow, we're actually leading a game and we're playing good. The only game that we led in Toronto was that game against York when we should have beat them, but
Yeah.
we ended up like that was the 7-6 heartbreaker.
Yep. Yeah. The penalty shot at the buzzer, but didn't go in.
Yeah. Should have been a tie, but it ended up. Yeah.
For some reason, I thought we tied that game, and then you told me, no, we lost it.
Yeah, we lost.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Tonight, I'm more motivated than I should have.
Yeah. And like 90% of those people in the bleachers up by that door are all from the other Winnipeg team that came to watch.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody was, and we'll talk about this as the shows go on. I could hear them during our games. And I am like 250 feet away, maybe more, and on a different ear level with them.
Yeah.
The noise when we scored that overtime goal, and I know that's a couple shows away yet. I thought they were all gonna get out of the building. They were that loud.
Yeah. It was good to have it. And that's like why we want more of these teams from Winnipeg going to something like this, right? Like in Toronto, we were the only team there.
Yep.
So like the only people there that were cheering for us were the people that came and traveled with the team. This year there was another Winnipeg team there. We went to their games, they came to our games. Like it was a support, right? And here in the city, when we played those guys guys are considered like our rivals. When we play those guys, like on the floor, it gets chippy, it gets physical, like it's essentially for bragging rights when we play here. But then we go to something like this, and it was nothing but support for those guys. Like I watched every single one of their games, whether I was at the rink watching or it was on like the live stream, or like I try to support those guys as much as I can because we had some former players on that team.
Absolutely, and yeah. We'll leave it at that for now.
I don't remember what this break was for. Was this for somebody call a timeout?
They did because we were running all over them.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't the end of the period. I know that.
No, this isn't the end of the period. I don't think. Because I didn't use a timeout. I gave it to the goalies.
Yeah, like they were pretty good at calling their own timeouts.
I said, like, hey, if you need a timeout, I told it all. I said, if you need a timeout, just take one, but take one before any signs of trouble.
They were pretty good at doing that. There was like maybe one game where we were like, okay, like we need to call a timeout, but definitely not like it wasn't the first go around. Like the first go around, I think we used every timeout every single game.
Yep, and they're there for a reason. And for those that don't know, you have 2 timeouts per game.
Yeah.
But only one in the third period.
Yeah. So like essentially you lose a timeout halfway through the game, basically, is like the way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think that was the end of the period. Wow, I didn't know that was the end of the first period already.
Well, the clock isn't quite synced with the broadcast.
Yeah. I think like it was a good broadcast setup, like in the fact that they didn't have to hire camera operators really. Like I guess they did it all remote. Some games were better than others, but I think overall, the way the tournament was set up, the way the tournament was broadcast, I think they did a really good job with it. They usually do a really good job with it.
And they supported a really good cause. Like if you bought a season pass, a percentage went to Today Tire Jumpstart, which was very tangible.
Yeah. Was this the game where Scotty came out halfway through because it was too hot?
I can't remember.
It was there was one of the games where he came out. Actually, it might have been a couple where he came out halfway through because they were too hot. But we weren't the only team that was doing that.
Well, a couple teams didn't even have 2 goalies.
Yeah, they didn't have 2 goalies, which I thought was absurd because why would you go to a tournament like this without 2 goalies? We debated on bringing 3. We actually did have 3. We had Scotty and Devin, and then Trevor could play goalie if we needed because Trevor's also a goalie.
Fair enough. Joe Trevor, what a guy. He'd like the Swiss Army knife.
That guy could play
Whatever you need, Trevor would do it.
Yeah. Yep.
What a nice that was.
Yeah, like Scotty played good when he was in the net. Just he told me after the tournament was over, he wished that he played with us more throughout the season to kind of get better prepared for it, which is fair. That's partially my fault for not asking him to come out more.
Yeah. But in fairness, the roster that we had to win the cities wasn't quite the same either.
No.
So no. I don't know how much he would have drawn out of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he did come in the playoffs and play lights out.
Yeah, he played lights out for us in the playoffs. We didn't allow a single goal that whole championship series against Broken Nets.
Sorry, Broken Nets. Sorry, Graham.
Love you, Graham. Love you, Nick. Love you, Corey. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But ironic enough, that championship-winning goal, the one where I passed it to Mons and he gave it to Stetsky on the 2-on-1, like the defenseman that turned the ball over to me in the middle of the floor was Corey.
Yeah, and I listen about that goal, just to back up a little bit. I have never been more fired up about a goal. Because Stetsky had been messaging me earlier in the day. Like, how do I get a goal? Like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, just play yourself. Like, be yourself. And the rest will come. And at night, he scores the biggest goal of the season while in town.
Yeah. He was like, he couldn't buy one for the longest time. Like, I'm talking, he was hitting crossbars and posts on empty nets when the other team had the goalie pulled. Like, he couldn't buy one. And then he finally got one, and we gave him the game ball. And then in the playoffs, he was our leading goal scorer in the playoffs. I really think the turning point for us in this game, too, is that second goal where we went up 2-1. And that's kind of when we were like, okay, we're not looking back anymore. Like, we're just going to go full speed ahead. Like, we controlled this game. Like, our penalty kill was really good, like with them playing like the box, keeping everything to the outside, not really giving them anything in the middle. Because like that's the thing with Scotty, is we knew that if Scotty can see the shot, he's gonna stop it.
Yeah. Honestly, I felt that way about both these.
Yeah. The only way you're beating either goalie was if it's like the shot is just a clean look and he just gets beat, or if it's like a deflection. Like if he sees it, he's gonna stop. Jaden. I love Jaden. Jaden's one of my favorite people to play with. I love that guy. He texted me the other day and told me that he's Sunnyvale for life. So all you other Winnipeg teams trying to poach him away, it's not going to happen.
That is the note right now.
Yeah.
You've been warned.
Yeah.
You've been warned. Love that guy too. He's talked about a lot of things with me lately.
Jaden? Yeah, I love Jaden.
Yeah, he's Jaden. Some of the times it's like just Jaden being Jaden, right?
Yeah. And then other times he gets like all heart to heart and stuff, and it's like, oh well, okay.
He can be one but tugs at the heartstrings.
Oh, definitely. Is that Liam taking a penalty? Yeah, that was Liam taking. Liam got picked on by the refs in this tournament for us. He is like, that was the worst I've ever seen. Like, he was getting picked on like crazy. Like, I'm talking, he taps the guy on the hands and they're putting him in the box for 4 minutes. I was like, you didn't even touch him.
Yeah.
That's like one thing I'm glad too. Like, we have a good reputation with the refs and like tournament organizers and stuff as being like a very clean team, a team that's easy to ref, a team that doesn't complain a lot. We just go out and play. We're also a
Well,
team
and that was the sentiment, and I think I shared with you a couple of weeks ago. Refs enjoyed officiating our games for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I mean, it was kind of like I'd go over and talk to the refs before the game and say, hey, if anybody's giving you flack, if anybody's getting mad, just let me know and I'll get them to stop. And I also told them, I was like, and like, if you have to, sit guys. Like, give guys a misconduct if you feel like you need to give it to them. Like, I've told them all. It also helped too, like having guys like Trevor and that who would like let us know which refs that were reffing from Alberta that were going to be the ones to like stay away from with like mouthing off and like chirping at, because there was a couple of them where like I'm lining up for a face off and he turns and looks at me. He's like, "Get your stick out of my circle," and I was like, "Yes, sir. All right."
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm done. You don't want to tell me twice.
Yeah. It's interesting. Where are we here? Second period?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe we should pick up on the YFC story.
Yeah.
We kind of started halfway and then got rudely interrupted by the first goal.
It kind of started as that was like the only place in Winnipeg that I could find ball hockey to play. Like I just kind of found it online, as there's a little bit of rough stuff happening there. Is that Marv? That was Marv. Of course, that was Marv. It was kind of really the only place that I could find to play, so I kind of got hooked up with doing that, and I played 2 years there. Was it the second year that I played that you came and joined, Sam, or was it the year after?
I had you for 3 years.
Okay, yeah, so you were there for all 3 years with Sam, then when it was kind of you and
Yeah,
Sam doing
yeah.
the thing.
Sam was the director of the whole thing, and then I believe we had Walker my last 2 years.
Yeah, because it was kind of one of the, like, Sam played, like, you guys worked together, like, because you couldn't play. Sam was, like, the coach that played, and then you guys did the coaching thing together.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a good team
that was
year.
The third year we didn't get to win it like I thought we should have, but who knew that like 10 plus years later all would be forgotten, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how that whole YFC thing came full circle, because you coached me for 3 years. You were one of my first coaches, but you also had the privilege.
Come on, Morgan. I didn't sign up on a Saturday night to have waterworks, but go on.
You also had the privilege of being the play-by-play guy for my last 3 career games on Shaw TV.
Yes, and you can find those beautiful pieces of art on YouTube.
Yeah.
With, to be honest, and I was telling somebody this story this week, actually. When I came out of school, I had no intention of going into video work at all.
Really?
In fact, Jamie Wilson was supposed to call those finals games, but because his team was in that championship, they had to basically helicopter me in to do them. And I had never done TV before.
We had to call an audible because I don't think we were expected to make those. But we steamrolled the team in the first round. Like, it wasn't even close. And then we were kind of like, oh, we're doing this. Okay. The team that we played was also the last place team by the All-Star break of that season too. And then Troy showed up, and it was just complete 180 turnaround. They ended up being the best regular season team, and we should have won that series.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, see, like they did a lot of that stuff, like where they would cut up the half wall and then cut into the middle. Like they tried to do a lot of that, and we were really good at not letting that happen.
That would be fair. Yeah, so anyway, I did helicopter and I'd never done TV in my life. Little did I know, like 2-3 years later, TV would be my life as we just scored again.
I think I was Wayne. Yeah. Yeah, that was like really interesting because we did like there was like pregame interviews before the games, and there was like interviews between periods. There was interviews after the games. It was like, I remember for one of them, I showed up like an hour early just because like I wanted an hour early. Me and Jamie were talking about stuff, and like the TV crew was already there, like taking videos of us just warming up like an hour early. Like it was wild. Made us feel like we were pros. I remember after too, Andrew Kopp, when he was playing with the Winnipeg Jets, actually posted on his Instagram story that he was watching the games.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? Because it was the Sutton game. Yeah, the Sutton game. There was 2 nights. Yeah. But the third game was just a mini game, and they had me come in half an hour early to voice the highlight pass, which you see at the beginning of the broadcast.
Yeah.
I had never done that before. So to sync that up with the truck and then interview with Judson at the same time, it was a lot to handle for a guy that had 4 days notice.
Yeah. It was definitely an interesting experience, that's for sure. It was crazy. That was nuts.
And yeah, I think the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah.
And I still haven't put that 3-1 thing on the board yet.
No, they were really bad with like
in our clip they had, it was like they foreshadowed our overtime winner.
When it said 9-7,
they had it at 7-6 before, right?
Yeah.
But
then they had it at 9-7, and I was like, when did we win 9-7? I was like, you guys were at 8-7 this whole time.
Yeah. So no, and listen, I know a little bit about that technology that they use. It's certainly technology that's not seeing the light of day in my office, and people around my crew know that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not disparaging the broadcast quality at all.
They did a good job.
They did a good job with what they had.
Well, and with the amount of games that they had to do too. Like when you
what's that one play-by-play guy's name on the main range? He did Edmonton, he did Saskatoon, he did Winnipeg, and I think by the end of the day, he said he did like 130-something games.
Yeah.
Which is just nuts.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But anyway, so that kind of turns into that, and well, I'll pick up the story from here just for a bit. Morton says, "Hey, you think you'd want to be our coach at Nationals?" Get the random message. I remember where I was. I was in my kitchen having some cheese and crackers, and I was just eating over the sink, and I had to do a double take. Is this accurate? And I think I said, "What are you crazy?" or something to that effect.
Yeah, you did. You know how long it took me to get you to say yes?
Too long.
Because we can talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And then I finally was just like, no, like, can we do this, please?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the year before. Because you guys had won that to even get the Nationals in Toronto.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll talk about the city one eventually. But here. No, listen, I'm very privileged and honored that you asked me. That's near and dear to my heart still to this day.
Yeah, like it's been a good time. It's been a good ride. It's been a good time sharing these moments with you, and like the emotions I had after this game, after going winless. Like, a lot of people, like, you don't understand how much of a grind these tournaments are. Like, your body's so sore at the end of it. Like,
there's the picture of you and I did. There's a picture of you and I giving each other a hug with the scoreboard in the background.
Yeah. Like this takes a toll on your body. Like there's
no intermission.
No, you get like a 2-minute intermission and that's it. if that. I think it might be like a minute and a half. And like if your team makes the medal games, like you're playing 7 games in 5 days. 7 full length stop time ball hockey games in 5 days. It's ridiculous. My feet and knees were so sore at the end of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, apparently I'm getting a message, and I'm going to keep the content to the message simply to, you have a history of saying, we'll talk about it.
Who, me or
Apparently
you?
that's the case.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're just like, we'll talk about it. I was like, Ben, I'm trying to talk to you about this right now.
We'll talk about it was my apparently customizable random answer to everybody to everything.
Yeah, well, we talked about it, all right.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was extremely reluctant about coming back for the second year. To be honest, I felt like I bombed the first year, and I went, "Oh, there's no way Morgan will have me back."
It wasn't even like that you bombed the first year. The team bombed the first year. When you only got 5 and 6 guys showing up every game, you know how hard it is to win games? It's not going to happen, especially in a game where it's 5-on-5 and you only have 6 guys. Like it's tough. It's a tough go.
Yeah.
And then the winter season before that spring season, or the winter season before this past spring season where we won, it wasn't a great season. People still doubted us because they're like, oh, like your record, like you guys suck. You guys had such a mediocre year. Look, we don't put in the best team possible for the winter. Like the winter is like, I don't care if we win the winter season. I really don't. The winter season is just to get us through to the spring and summer. That's it.
Well, what would you call tomorrow then? The winter season?
Fall winter season, I guess, because it runs into the winter season. I guess they call it winter ball hockey, so I guess that's what we'll call it.
Anyway, you have another random question?
Yeah. What's our urge to go back? That's so let me break this down for you.
Oh wait, hang on, I think there's 4 here.
I don't know if they counted it because that ref in the corner couldn't see it. And this guy at the bench definitely wasn't calling it in because he's way back here and he can't see it.
Right. Yeah, this is the nodal, and I remember breathing a sigh of relief after that.
Because that would have been a momentum killer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 3-1 at this point, though.
It is. It is. They just haven't updated the score. Yeah, what's our urge to go back? Okay, up until
for me, it's simple. The ride that it was this year.
Yeah. Keep the momentum going, right? Like we're on a high note.
Not even momentum. It was like a, pardon me if I can't find the right words, but it was like a magic carpet ride.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know. You can talk about the urge to go back.
So like for the longest time, up until I want to say like maybe a month and a half ago, yeah, it was probably right around the time that men's A Nationals was here. So like August, early August, mid-August, everybody was under the impression that the tournament was Halifax, and that's where the tournament was going to be held. That we were all under the impression it was Halifax. And then a couple of us started sitting back and thinking, and I was like, well, why would it be Halifax? Nova Scotia never sends teams to these tournaments. Why would they put in a bid to host the tournament? Like that doesn't make any sense. So we were kind of like, well, we're going to go back, but it depends on where it is. We'll see if we go back. Like a lot of the guys are like, yeah, like I want to go back, but it's got to be like cost effective and it's got to be affordable. Then it came out that it's in Mississauga again. And that perked up eyebrows. That got everybody's hair on the back of their neck standing up because we were like, we got unfinished business in Toronto and we're going back. Not going back is not an option.
Sorry, Morgan. I'm here. I'm just reaching for something under my desk.
So, like, the urge for us to go back is we're going to prove to the entire province of Ontario that we're better than an 0-4 finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite simply, that's what it is for me too.
I think that's the play where Garnett got the guy stood Garnett up at the blue line and he ran through him and they gave Garnett the penalty for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I have sorry?
All I'm gonna say is if those Hamilton Ducks are watching, it's redemption season, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah. What I've kind of gotten over that whole what happened, and
it's not even about what happened. It's just the fact that they beat us twice.
Yeah.
And the fact that we
go ahead.
We outshot them like 46-27 in that elimination game where we lost 5-1. Like their goalie played unreal. That game should not have been 5-1.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was interesting because I think we equated ourselves better in that second game at any time during the first game.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's gonna be good. We have a lot of guys that want to go back. It sounds like there's gonna be up to 3 teams from Manitoba going this year, so it'll be a lot more interesting player-wise and like building a roster because some guys are already spoken for, so you got to kind of piece it together and go from there. But
somebody taking offense to my magic carpet ride.
Why?
He goes, "Are we leprechauns?" LOL. Well, sorry, I couldn't think of anything better because the whole week after this second game was like a feeling that I couldn't describe.
Yeah. Oh, we're on a 5-on-3 penalty kill here. I forgot about that.
Yes. Also a momentum shifter.
Well, because we did a good job of, like, again, keeping them out of the middle. We kept them to the wall. Like, you can't give them anything in the middle. Keep them to the wall, and you're fine. Scotty's going to stop stuff if you keep them to the wall. Can we talk about Tyler's yellow socks for a second?
Sorry?
Can we talk about Tyler's yellow socks for a second? Oh, no, that's Jordy. Oh, no, him and Jordy both had yellow socks. I remember that. The yellow socks was, like, wild. Like, of all the colors, you picked bright yellow.
Apparently, my vision and the descriptions are entertaining.
Oh, yeah. Listen, visions and descriptions. You don't want to see what was happening in that locker room, man. I'm telling you. Like, some of the stuff that was going on in there was like wild.
Yep. Yeah.
Like it kept the mood light, but like, man, guys taking selfies with each other naked and just like, I was like, what are you guys doing? I can't be in here right now.
The person is adjusting on behalf of Jordy and Tyler who were wearing the yellow socks.
Yeah, Tyler didn't play this game because he was suspended, but he definitely had yellow socks throughout the tournament.
So people are saying I need to wear pink socks. No thanks.
Pink socks.
I'm already superstitious enough, and pink socks ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, there was a lot of superstitions with guys in this tournament. That's for sure. Like there was a lot. Like a lot.
Where are we here? End of the second?
Nope. Getting close to the end of the second.
A minute left. I'm just trying to see if that time is accurate.
Should be pretty close. The third period is going to be the longest one, I feel, because that's like where the wheels fell off for Burnaby was in that period. But like this was like a really clean game. These guys were super clean. It wasn't chippy. Like this was probably one of the best teams that we've played. And like I talked to a lot of these guys throughout the tournament too to see how they were doing. I even told their team captain right before he played Grand Prairie. I went on the floor and I was like, "So I need you guys to help us out here. Like, do me a favor and like win or tie or just do something to help us out."
Yeah. Well, they came through.
They did. Well, and then I found out after the Grand Prairie guys didn't even realize that they had to win. Like they thought they they thought that if they got like a tie or whatever that they were going to be in. They didn't realize they needed to win by 5 goals. Otherwise, they said they would have tried harder.
Well, for my sake, I'm glad they didn't know.
Yeah, me too.
Unfortunate for them, but I would have to say, though, everybody that we played was really good competition.
Yeah. There's at least 2 of those games that we should have won.
Hey.
That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm gonna say. I think this is the end of the second period now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to advance this.
Yeah. Yeah, like that makes sense. I think it was 2-2 after the first 2 periods, and then the third period was just where we kind of kicked the door down and we're like, we're done. Yeah. Because up until that point, other than giving them power plays, like we were controlling the game for the most part. Like if they didn't really have anything going.
During this, I was not feeling comfortable at all, actually.
Yeah, like it was good because Phil was kind of just like going to everybody and just telling us to play our game, that they're not better than us. And still, I still stand on that hill that I don't think there was a team better than us in this tournament. I think a lot of the stuff that happened was us shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, we had a 3-0 lead in the semifinal and let that get away.
Yeah.
But
3-0 lead in the semifinal. We had a 3-0 lead in the quarterfinal.
Oh. And then we fell behind, I think, 2 goals twice, including once in the third period, twice in the third in that game.
Our last round robin game, we were winning 4-3 with 2 minutes left. We lost 5-4.
Don't even bring that up. Like that. If I had one irritation about the whole week, it was that moment.
I think that one stings the most because if we would have won that last round robin game, we would have got it pushed like right through to the semifinals. We wouldn't have had to play that quarterfinal game.
Wow.
See, look, that's Devin in net. We switched half at the end of the second period because Scotty was overheating and he couldn't do it anymore.
Yep. So, do you have any more questions there, Morgan?
How did this team come together?
Oh.
Like I'm assuming he means like how did this Nationals team come together?
Yeah. Not too sure I want to divulge that secret, to be honest.
Yeah, like I don't really want to like because
my understanding of the question is how did this team come together in game, like during the tournament?
Yeah.
Like how I interpret the question. And we've already kind of touched on that in the first period. It was like nobody was for themselves. Everybody was about the team instead of the individual.
I think that was the biggest thing in Toronto. The first going around, we had a lot of people that were like individuals, which isn't like not trying to like hate on anybody, but it was just the wrong attitude and the way that we didn't want to play. And then this year, everybody was kind of about the team. Like it was do whatever it takes for the team to win. If I have to sit because there's guys that are playing that are better than me, like sit me. I'll sit so that other guys can go out who are better.
Yeah, I think we have a last bit of a tail over here.
Yeah. And I think having a lot of veteran guys on this team helped too. Like if I can think about it, how many guys played in that Legends and Masters tournament when it was here? Scotty, Wayne, Trevor, Deuce, Liam, Chris, Garnet, Marvin, Tim, Colin. Like, we had a lot of like veteran guys who really stepped up and kind of helped keep the mood light with some of the younger guys. It helped. And fun fact about this team, Tim got asked to play for Team Canada because of the way that he played at this tournament. So that was huge for us. Talking to scouts and like hearing what they thought about Tim, and like asked if he would be interested, and shout out to the Alberta guys that we got playing with us too, that kind of helped set that up through like different connections and stuff, and kind of hooked him up with that. So, because that was a good experience for Tim.
Yeah, he had a not to take anything away from Tim or any words out of his mouth, but maybe we can get him on a show at one point and have him tell it to us directly. But
yeah,
my sense is he had the time of his life there.
Yep. He was just happy.
I mean, it was our tournament. It was high level hockey for Tim for like 6 weeks of the 8 summer weeks.
Which is why like Tim normally plays this like winter fall ball hockey season with us, but like after the amount that he played over the summer, he told me that he's just going to take the winter off and take some time to like regroup and stuff. But he told me that he's in for the spring for the full rink season. He's in for nationals again. Like he likes being on our team. He likes the work that I've done to build the team better, and like building blocks, right? Like you gotta do what you can do. Like we've got a lot of guys coming back. I'm not going to release those names yet.
Yeah, no, don't.
Because there's going to be some pretty pissed off teams in the city that are not exactly happy. That won't exactly be happy when they find out. So,
but no, there's no need to put the cart before the horse. No. That being said, and this kind of ties in with one of the questions I had, and that is, along with the question that I received, can you talk about the early days of the Sunnyvale team? Because, I mean, you're the founder of the team. You saw this team from its infancy, basically.
Yeah.
What was your idea? Like, I can't imagine when you created the team and the logo and the jerseys and all that stuff, you could see the team at the national stage.
No, like we kind of just did it because it originally started as like a bunch of like friends just kind of wanted to do something, because like our YFC days were done. Like we had to figure something out after YFC was over, but we still wanted to keep playing, but we didn't know how we could keep playing. So we put the team in together at Duncan, and it started out just a bunch of friends, and the first, like, we had no expectations to be good, but like we were all like competitors and wanted to like compete to win, but we had no expectations to be good. And the first year we had the team in, we made the finals, and we ended up losing to a team that was an absolute wagon. Like they lost one game the whole year, but we ended up losing in the finals, and we were kind of like, oh, like maybe if we keep doing this, we can be good. But we didn't know that anything like this existed. Like we had never paid much attention or done any research or anything. We didn't know like anything like this existed. I didn't know that this existed until Walker went with Blizzard for the first time, and he went to Windsor. That was the first time that I knew something like this existed. And then I was like, this actually exists. This is sick. I was like, so now like I need to either get on a team that's capable of doing this, or I need to just wait it out, and I need to build a team that's good enough to do this. And we kind of just did it.
How gratifying was it? Because the year we got 2 nationals the first time wasn't the greatest season for a magnitude of reasons.
Yeah.
But just to get the team on the national stage had to give you some sense of pride.
Yeah, like the team that we took to nationals the first time wasn't the original team that we wanted to take. There's a lot of guys that were added last minute just because certain guys couldn't make the commitment, whether it was like work or like family stuff that was going on, or like weddings and stuff. The team that we had and we used to win the spot for nationals was one of the most well-rounded teams I've ever played for. Like, just everybody knew their role, everybody played their part, like everybody did what we needed to do. And then like organizing something like this is one of the most difficult things I've ever done. Making sure that guys are in like hotel rooms on rosters, making sure that everybody's like, okay, like tournament starts this day. We need you in that city by this day. Like game time is this time. We need you at the rink an hour before the game so we can make sure that everybody's there in the room 30 minutes before the game. Like,
right. So you're general manager, captain, player.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep. It's been interesting. And which is why I kind of like try to take like a fourth line role on this team, right? Like I'm not out there to be like the goal scorer. I'm out there to give our best players a little bit of a break. Oh yeah, there it is. I got high stick right there. That hurt so bad. That sucked. That was awful. That was so bad.
I didn't feel the pain from here.
Like he stick lifted me, he hit me in the face, and then he pulled his stick out from under my visor and like ran it across my lip. Like it was so bad. That was awful. I'm walking by like our bench. Everybody's like, "Oh, good job drawing the penalty." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks. I'm just making sure that I still have teeth here." Like, I still have my two front teeth. We're good. Like I've debated wearing a mouth guard or something like this, but that's the first time I've ever been hit in the face.
So the question I received is quite simply, where do you see this team in 10 years?
It's hard to say because there's so many good young ball hockey players that are coming up like in the city right now that it really kind of just depends on if the sport keeps going, like keeps growing, or if it's going to like kind of fizzle off a little bit, like it's kind of going in the direction. But ideally in 10 years, majority of the guys that we have will be like masters age. So maybe we're doing it on the masters level now. Like we're going to ride this train as long as we can. I think that's the goal. As long as we keep winning spots at nationals, and if teams don't go, if Manitoba ball hockey is willing to give us the opportunity to go, we're going to keep going as long as we can.
I have one goal, and that's 10 years.
What's that?
Bring Jack home.
Man, don't remind me, because that should have been this past summer. I was so confident in that semifinal game. I was like, this is it. We're a wagon. This is good. And then we went up 3-0, and I was like, this is it. Like, we can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just the direction of this team, if we can keep majority of these guys together and add some pieces from teams that aren't going, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
For sure. For sure. What are you most proud of about this game?
Honestly, this game, there was no quit. The 2023 team, when we went down 1-0, that would have been it. That would have been game over. Like that would have just been writing on the wall. It would have imploded from the inside out. Like guys would have got down on each other. We just looked at it as we're down 1-0, 3 minutes into the first period of a game that has 3 15-minute periods. Like there's still a lot of game left. Anything can happen. And then as the game started to go on, we were just like nothing but confident. But like a lot of the stuff that's happening here, like guys getting into the corner and like working for the ball and winning ball battles and stuff, like none of that stuff happened in Toronto. Guys would get pushed around and they'd fold over and just they couldn't handle it. Like Christian in Toronto was the only guy that was pushing people around, and he got kicked out of almost every game that we played.
Yeah.
I think I'm just most proud of how, like, over the course of the week, we just kind of came together, and the common theme in our room was there's not a team in this tournament that's better than us. We can compete with the best of them, and Don't make excuses. There's no excuses. Don't be scared of anything. There's no fear. And there's no limits to the success that we can have. And that's kind of why the team's motto for the last year has basically been no fear, no limits, no excuses, because we're not scared of anything. We don't have any fear. There's a glass ceiling for us. Like we're going to break the ceiling. There's no limits to the success we can have. And we don't make excuses for ourselves.
I had a question directed at me. What's my favorite pregame routine?
Man, hold on. You are at the rink like way before everybody else. Like half the time we're coming in and you're already sitting there with your lineup card ready to go, like in the rink, fanny pack on. You're sitting at the table. You're ready to go. Like you're like, that's his pregame routine right there.
I could not be bought.
That's his pregame routine right there.
You have summed up my pregame routine to a T, my friend.
But let me just put it this way for everybody. I always know where to find Michael when I need to talk to him before a game. It's the same spot at the same table before the game. It was the same table and the same chair in Toronto, and it was the same table and the same chair in Edmonton. I always knew where he was going to be.
Yeah. And then during warm-up, it's just staring at the clock, staring at the ceiling, staring at
Shannon.
Walking around and taking in the moment, because I felt like for the most part, as we score another goal there, I think.
Yeah, Garnet, powerful.
Like all my work is pretty much done by that point, and I allowed myself a few minutes to take it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of never really a secret where you're going to find me before a game. I'm probably
somebody equates it as a goalie stare. That's exactly what it is.
It is. It's 100% a goalie stare.
Then I think I come to you and I say something to you, and that's about it.
Like we have like our pregame thing, like a handshake and a fist bump, and it's like
I don't even know what it is, more than to be honest.
It's usually like a 2-word thing, and it's like, you ready to go? Yup, and then it's a fist bump, and that's it. And you kind of do your thing. I got my thing in the corner. It's got to be the same thing every time. It's got to be like, I can't change it. It's a superstition, right? Like it's game day routine. I want to be at the rink before the game, an hour before the game. It helps me get there. It is right there. Look at that. He hit me again. He hit me again. I was not ready for that. The first one I was fine with. The second one I was like, oh, wow. Like that hurt.
Okay. Hey, the camera pan back down. Yeah.
I wasn't on the that hurts so bad. That did not feel good at all. It was the first one. I was like, okay, my hands are on the boards. I'm good. And then I kicked the ball away and I moved my hands. And then he came back and he hit me again. And I was like, oh, that didn't feel great. Like, Stetsky, you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have any questions, you can fire them in the chat. We'll take them. We're almost done here tonight. As soon as the game ends, we're going to wrap this thing up. It is almost 11 o'clock. But it's fun to reminisce for sure. First time I'm seeing this video.
Yeah, like they hated that stuff. Like they hated the fact that we were on them right away behind the net. And Tim scores right here because I remember this one. Yeah.
That's when I knew we had this game right there.
Yeah, that was the stranglehold goal right there. That was it. It was that, and when I saw that kid with the red helmet put his head down and start walking back to the bench, that's when I was like, we got this. No more looking back.
By the way, just receiving news, the Winnipeg Freeze have picked up points in 3 straight games now. They drop an overtime game at the Terry. Thank you. 2-1 Portage. Thank you, Tyler, for the update.
Hi, Tyler.
Actually, no,
Keep-
the update team from me.
Keep my
The
pro shop at
scoreboard.
work clean tomorrow, Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah, you done a long bus ride.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's in only an hour. It's only an hour.
How did we have another late game? We had like no, it was Toronto that we had a 10 o'clock game. That game sucked.
Yeah.
I never want to play that late again. That was awful.
No, we had a 6:45, and then we had morning and an early afternoon. Then the third day we had the morning game, and then the quarterfinal was in the evening at a decent time.
That quarterfinal game was at like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was like, this is too early for this.
Was it that early?
Yeah, it was early. It was early.
Yeah, no, it was the first game on the rink. That was the coolest I've ever felt.
Yeah, it was the first day on that rink.
And then the Burnaby game, it was forest fire smoke seeping into the vents.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was not pleasant.
I like this year too. We didn't have a long break like we had in Toronto. Remember Toronto, our first game was at like 11, and then we played that same day at like 9:15 again. Like it was.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
We didn't have that long break again.
But our schedule was perfect. Play the first game later at night.
Yeah.
Then early morning, later afternoon, and then early morning, later afternoon, early evening, and then they had the early game on Saturday.
Yeah. That nice bronze medal game was good. I left right after that bronze medal game. I got in the car and I started driving home. I was ready to go home. That heat wave was too much. It's like 10:30 in the morning and guys are sitting upstairs in the lounge pounding back pitchers of beer. And I was like, man, it's like 10:30. You guys are nuts.
Yeah. Oh man. But no, it was warm in there. Oh, there's our explanation mark.
Yeah, I think that was the one where I was really could breathe a little bit and was like, okay, we're good.
Yeah, 7-3 is on my game card, so
it was 7-3. We got one more. I don't remember who scored the last one.
Yeah, this is our 7th goal, isn't it?
No, that was 6.
Okay, yeah, we did one more.
Yeah. We should get Stetsky on one of these because I'd love to listen to Stetsky rant about how he felt. Because
please, listen, I had to be in a room with him for 5 days. That was entertaining.
I was wild. He's a wild guy. He's a very wild guy.
Listen, it comes from a good place. Like, don't get me wrong.
It does come from a good place. 100% it does.
And he will overanalyze stuff and overthink stuff. And part of my sort of mechanism with him is like, just go out and play.
Yep.
And I think it took till the third game for him to really take that to heart.
The one where he got player of the game, yeah.
And that's exactly why he got player of the game, personally. Yep.
No, I felt personally for myself, I felt like I had a way better tournament this year than I did in Toronto. Like the nerves were gone. I could just go out and play. It's going to come up. It's going to come up in the third game. There's one play that I want back, and I stand by it on this day. If I was using a different stick, I score. The stick I was using was the problem because I got rid of that stick as soon as I got home. You'll know which one I'm talking about too. You'll know. We'll play it out.
I know. Trust me.
You know which one I'm talking about.
That's why I'm smirking.
That was the cleanest pass I've ever gotten in my life, and I can't believe I fumbled it.
Wow. At least you're not Connor Zeri, who fluffed on a wide open net tonight for Calgary.
No, I've had my fair share of those. I don't like talking about
those. Let's just say his stick was non-existent 45 seconds later on the bench.
Like, I mean,
Twig in two over the corner of the bench.
There was a little bit of like that crowd stuff, but it was more so towards the end of the game, and I think it was because these guys were frustrated that they were losing. It wasn't like all
Apparently,
game.
I overthink things too. Yeah, you're right.
You do. There was one in this tournament where I had to tell you no, that we weren't doing it. And I don't remember what it was, but you overthought something and I had to tell you. I was like, no, we are not doing this right now. It's not happening. Don't do it.
Yeah. No, and to be honest, there was a moment that necessitated that, and I did see a repeat moment coming from Ontario, and I think that's why I said that.
I think it was like we were tied with them 7-7 or something. You're like, I don't feel good about this. I see repeat coming. And I was like, don't think that. Don't go there. It's not happening. And what happened? We got a power play like 30 seconds into overtime.
Oh, yeah, because I hated overtime. You're right.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it was you hated overtime. I was like, no, we got a power play 30 seconds into overtime.
Well, the part that irritated me was we had the lead with 2 minutes left, and they tied it after all those guys got hit out.
Yeah, they had a lot of money and fines to pay after that game.
I'll say
that they got one of their guys got suspended in his league back home. We only had one guy get suspended for us.
Well, yeah, and then he had to. I'll never forget it. They gave some of the guys. We'll talk about this more than. Let's just say right here, right now, the quarterfinals will be our next watch along, and the date to be determined.
Because like the other games don't like, they don't really. I mean, they matter, but I mean, not really in the grand scheme of like.
No, but we used this one to kind of set the stage for it.
Yeah. Like people know what happened. We went 2-2 in the round robin. Like Party Bus showed us what's up. They humbled us down pretty good.
Yep.
The Saskatchewan team we played, completely off the record here, I think they thought they were a lot better than they actually were.
Yeah.
That's not coming from me. That's coming from people that I know in Saskatchewan that know those guys. So
yeah,
they thought they were a lot better than they actually were.
Yeah, the team that actually scared me the most was the team we played in the quarterfinal.
Yep. Like that Burlington team, we shot ourselves in the foot both times we played those guys. We should have beat them the first time, and we should have beat them the second time.
When did we lose to them in the semis?
We lost to them 5-4 in the round robin, and then we lost to them 9-7 in the semifinals.
Yes, and that was the empty netter because we had a chance with it. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
And I remember distinctly saying to myself and overthinking me, I don't know how we're going to overcome this devastating loss.
Yeah.
I think I even told you that.
Well, because we talked about it when Wayne got suspended for the bronze medal game. We were kind of like, oh, well, that's one of our leading point scorers. Like somebody's going to have to step up, but who's going to step up? Like who's going to do it? And it took a lot of depth guys to step up and do it.
Yeah.
And they did it. The 5-minute power play kind of helped, but
hey, if you ain't getting a little bit of help, then don't help at all, right?
Yeah.
Any final questions here? There's just about like not even a minute left in the game here.
I don't have anything to add. If you got something,
give me an update on the game tomorrow. Who you guys playing? What you're doing? What's the plan?
We're playing. They're called the Duncan Stars. They're Cody Ducharme's team.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Seems to always have a good team, but again, the gym is so hard to play in because it's so small and compact. Like you almost have to play it a completely different way. We're gonna try to keep the guys that we have coming to nationals with us together, and the guys that aren't coming to nationals are gonna play together, so we can kind of kick the chemistry off to start. But I'm expecting us to win, as I always do.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. I'll definitely let you know how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good. We got broadcast tomorrow on the Game Time front. Check out the site for more information and all that stuff. This has been your first watch along party. Our next watch along party will be a date to be determined. It'll be our quarterfinal against the Moist Kings from Ontario.
Yeah.
We'll
try to get Marv. I'm going to try to get Marv. I'm gonna try to get Marv.
Marv is a necessity. Marv is a
I'm gonna try to get
necessity.
Marv.
And I promise you, we are not going to say a word for the back half of that third period to the overtime. We're just going to all take it in.
Yeah, so that game was wild.
That game was
I
wild.
haven't been that nervous in a long time.
See, you just admitted to me you were as nervous as I was.
I was nervous for that one.
Let's face it. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Anyway, for more than Hobbs, I'm Michael Dale. Thank you so much for watching our watch-along party. Where can people follow our team socials?
We are Sam Squanch's Ball Hockey on Instagram, Sam Squanch's Ball Hockey on Facebook, and I think that's it for right now. Might get a website going because I think Darnell said he wants to help do like forums and news updates and stuff. So if we get a website going, we'll work on that too. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, Morton, I'll talk to you off camera once we get the stream disconnected for a second.
Yeah.
We'll say goodbye to our audience watching for now. If you have comments, questions, concerns, fire them our way. We'll be back, I think, in a couple weeks with this Moist Kings rewatch. And then I believe we're also going to have a watch party for our bronze medal game and try to get most of, if not everybody, on that one.
We'll try to get a bunch of those guys on.
Just for a bit of a remiss of the well, it's been quite a day here in Winnipeg. The Bombers go off to the West Final 2 weeks from tonight, thanks to the wind. That's the polite way to put it. And the Jets are 8-0. Life is good here in Winnipeg for tonight. All right, Morton, I'll catch you on Monday. Sound cool?
Yes, sir. Sounds good to me.
All right. For more than Hobbs, I'm Michael Dale saying have a great night. Thanks for watching this watch-along. We hope you enjoyed it. And we will chat with you soon on our next watch-along. Watch the game time and team social medias for the next upcoming date. For more than Hobbs, I'm Michael Dale saying have a great night. We'll chat soon. Bye for now.